Hi, Courtney here to talk to you today about what to do when you are broke, when you don't have enough money to pay your bills, or you're struggling to get debt paid off. Maybe you have enough money to pay your bills, but you've got a lot of debt and you're just barely getting by. I've been in this position many times. I was in an economically abusive relationship for years. I actually managed the money, but I was extremely codependent. And people have different levels of comfort. And so my level of comfort is having savings and not having debt. And the situation was that the other person's level of comfort was living paycheck to paycheck pretty much and just really didn't want to have anything to do with the bill paying or the debt, but didn't really understand what was going on. So I'm not laying blame. I'm just saying that sometimes we find ourselves in these situations by our own doing. Sometimes it's by our own doing and a consequence of being in a relationship that where both people are making choices or mistakes that are not serving them financially. So, with that being said, it doesn't really matter because this is where we are, right? So what do we need to do first? The first thing that you need to do is something that most people hate hearing, and I know people don't like the word budget, but hang with me here. You want to write down all of your bills and all of your expenses. And if you're not sure, then what you want to do is people always say, I don't have enough money to budget. There's no money left. So that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're going to be negative. You've got to write down what it is you're spending, and you can look at your debit card, your check statement, your credit card statements. Where is that money going? And if there's a lot of cash that's going that you don't know, you may have to give yourself a budget for that or track. So when I was in this situation a while back, the last time I was in this situation and got out, I was still married. We had overbuilt a house. We had been debt free twice and got back in this by overbuilding a house. And long story short, we were $1,400 a month negative after the bills were paid. We were short $1,400 a month. So what's coming in, what's going out. And if you're not sure, you get the last 3 months, especially if you have variable income, which a lot of people do these days in this new culture we have of side hustle work or even digital work, or my brain can't think of what the words are for it. But like I have a son that's a Door Dasher, and his income, he at first it was hard because it was varied, but now he knows I make an average of this per month. It's pretty predictable. So you've got to see how much do I need to make up the loss. The next thing that you want to do is call your creditors. Everyone that you owe money to, you want to call and try to buy yourself some time. Most of the time, creditors, even like utility companies and things like that, they will work with you if you will be reasonable. But you can't just sit and hope that it's going to get fixed. You've got to do something. So call your creditors and work out a payment plan and buy yourself some time. The second thing you want to do is you've got to stop spending money. You're going to just work within your needs. Now, this is not a long-term problem. These things can be fixed no matter how bad it is. Everything is fixable, but it can take time and a little effort. And it's probably going to be a little uncomfortable, but most things aren't as uncomfortable as you think. So write down what your basic needs are. And you want to make sure that your food, shelter, and clothing needs are met, and transportation. So your house, your utilities, start saving on those utilities, turn things off, be mindful of your utility usage, put on a sweater or wear less clothes if it's hot, whatever, turn on a fan. Your transportation, you want to look at that, those costs, can they be reduced somewhere? You want to look at your food costs. Most likely that's a good place where people can cut pretty quickly. You probably don't need any clothes to, for any reason other than work or whatever. So that can probably be avoided for the time being, or you can go to the Goodwill and find some things that you need if you absolutely need clothes for work or something like that. After you've called your creditors and you've stopped spending, you've looked at your expenses going out and what's coming in, the next thing that you want to do is start to sell stuff. You want to go through your house and look at everything that you have that you can sell. I'm astonished at some of the people that I know that are broke, that have stuff sitting around that they're not using, that don't sell stuff. It's one thing I love about my husband. He's had so many things in his life before he really understood how to manage money. I know my husband would not hesitate to sell some of the things he loves. Like, he has a four-wheeler and a boat, and we have two vehicles, one for work and one for his daily driver. I know that he would do whatever it took to make sure that we were okay. And I'm extremely minimalist. I don't have that much, but I'm the same way. I have a used car that's almost 10 years old, but I would sell my car and get a cheaper car if I had to, whatever I had to do to get by. But in the meantime, I could sell my clothes. I could walk around my house and look, do I have any appliances or furniture I'm not using? Sell stuff. You don't need it. You will not be miserable without it. Trust me. You can always replace it when you have money again. So sell everything that you can that you absolutely don't need and start paying those bills. Make sure to keep the roof over your head and your lights on first, and your transportation, so you don't lose your job. The next thing you want to do is you may have to get another job. Now, in this day and age, there's just really no reason not to have a job. I understand people have health problems and there's things like that, but you can get on Instacart. Some of those are immediate. DoorDash, sometimes it takes a little bit because they've got to send you a debit card that you'll use, and that can take a little bit. Sometimes on your phone, they can give you immediate access. DoorDash, Instacart, places like that. To go to a temp agency, there are things that one could do right away. When I found myself in this situation, this is exactly the steps that I did. I went through what was coming in, what was coming out. We cut everything out unnecessarily. We called our creditors and worked out payment plans. We sold everything that we could, and then we both, this is my ex-husband and I, took extra jobs. And he worked on the side in the computer field, and I took a job at my friend's store, working about 16 to 20 hours a week. And that did not give us all the $1,400 that we needed. It did not. But it made us have more so that we did not have to use credit cards to buy groceries. So that was extreme. We could use less, and it gave us a sense of pride. Eventually, we decided to sell our house and downsize. And that's when our lives started to really change. We went through a Dave Ramsey course. He's not my favorite person, but the principles are sound when you're in debt or in financial distress. Even if you're not in debt, when you're in financial distress, those principles still work. And we got a house payment that was about half of what we were paying before. And we took the little bit of equity we had. We didn't have much. And we fixed that house up the best that we could. We painted it ourselves. We laid tile ourselves. We spent a little bit of money redoing the floors, but we had to leave a lot of it. And so I raised my kids in kind of a janky old bungalow from 1930s, but it worked. It was nice. It was clean. It was comfortable, and it had a lot of character, to say the least. The last thing that you could do, number 6, is to learn to live simply. I have a book here. I was going to be on a podcast the other day, and we got the weather, not my internet out, so that didn't happen. But this book right here is called Living the Simple Life by Elaine St. James. It's a really old book. I have the whole series. Learning to live simply does not mean doing without or being uncomfortable or being unhappy. There are so many simple pleasures in life. Your biggest tool is right here between your ears. The way that you perceive and think about things. We all need money to live comfortably, but studies show that to about 77,000, obviously with inflation now, and depending on where you live, if you're in a high cost of living area or a low cost. I'm in a low cost of living area. $77,000 where I live is a lot of money, but if you're living in DC, probably not. But at a certain point, and once we have everything we need and a little extra, your baseline of happiness goes back down to baseline. It does not stay up there the more you get. So learning to live very simply. During the pandemic, financially, I didn't know what was going to happen, and it scared me. We are financially independent now. I was a broke single mama 10 years ago, and we've completely turned that around through everything I'm telling you right here. And work has been the number one thing that has gotten us out of this. My husband and I have worked our tails off. And Thank God we did, because when I got long COVID, I have not been able to work a full day since having long COVID. I have to pace myself and I'm not doing very good at it. So, be doing the things I'm teaching you, it may feel like in the short term it's really hard, but your life could be drastically different 10 years from now. And I would even say 3 to 5 years from now. So, you may have to get an extra job, a side job, or something like that. We ended up keeping all of our side jobs until just recently. Just in 2019, I closed part of my business. My husband is still working 2 jobs. I'm running the Airbnb, working 4 half days a week at the medical clinic that I work for. And I am also doing all the roofing bookkeeping, all the marketing. I do all the taxes, and I just keep my husband straight on all the stuff that's going on, just making sure that we don't forget anything. So I'm like the secretary for the roofing company. So sometimes you have to work really hard to get what you want, but we take time off and we take a vacation, or we just enjoy time together. We, at a certain point, a couple nights a week, after dinner, we sit down and watch a movie together. On the weekends, we take walks or hikes when I'm able to. So I do not feel deprived, and I have not felt deprived through this whole journey. Even when I was a broke single mom in debt, I would do little things like take a weekend and just go 4 hours away with my kids. I would save all year. I might only have $1,200 saved in a whole year, which would be through selling things and working extra, maybe a tax return back then. And I still made things I valued a priority. And if we really get down to what makes us happy, it usually is the simple things. I teach this. I'm a solution focused coach and yoga therapist, and I teach stress management and cardiac rehab. And I teach this to our patients. Write down what makes you happy. You'll be surprised that most of the things that make you happy don't cost much money at all. There'll be a few things on there that will, but most of them don't give you lasting happiness that are expensive. It's usually the simple things in life. I hope this has been helpful, and good luck. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, please give this a thumbs up and subscribe. It helps get the word out. Bye-bye.